So some of the organizations that I think you've worked with have been using microfinance to fund low-cost schools in Ghana. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, and if you think that there are other kinds of institutions that microfinance could partner with synergistically that way in the future?
That's a great question. So our program that we are working on in Ghana is basically using microfinance and microfinance products to improve schools. And so we work with this kind of little known sector of these low-cost private schools that actually focus on deprived communities. So where there either is no government school or the government school is too far away or it's overcrowded. Members of the community just sort of set up their own school. And they charge an affordable tuition to the parents. These are basically not-for-profit schools. And so there are some for-profit schools, but we focus on not-for-profit schools. And then, they use that tuition to pay the teachers and run the school. But technically, they're a business. And so, like any business, they might need a loan to grow because even though they're schools, they don't get any government support because they're technically private. So what we partnered with an MFI in Ghana to try to create a program that would make it easier to lend to these schools because microfinance institutions tend not to like to lend to schools. They're tricky loan clients. They don't fit well in a group lending model, all of these reasons. And so we developed and then tested these different loan products. And so there are things like a lot of proprietors want a loan to buy a school bus so that they can transport the children. They can get further out and get kids in more rural areas. So it increases their enrollment. And then they can also rent that bus out during the school day. So it's an income generating activity for the school as well. And what we liked about using microfinance is when you go into these regions, extremely rural areas in sub-Saharan Africa, microfinance can go there. A lot of other interventions can't really go very deep and very far, but when you have a loan officer looking over their loan portfolio and their school is in that loan portfolio, they're gonna go and monitor that school. They're gonna tell you if teachers aren't showing up. They're going to tell you because if the school can't repay the loan, it's on their back. So that feedback mechanism of microfinance is very well managed, much better managed than the government circulating amongst the schools. And so we thought, well, let's use that delivery method to bring some better education into the schools as well. But there have
did you find that people were surprised that there are private schools for lower income folks operating in Africa as a model?
It's been such an uphill battle to explain this sector to people because as soon as you say the word private school, particularly to somebody from the West, immediately they don't want to hear about it. They're like, nope, school. And the other thing is that the big debate is is free education a right? And we can, sure, okay, it's a right, but who's going to pay for that, actually? Somebody's got to pay for it. It's either our tax dollars, or coming. So what's the better question is not should education be free, but what is the most cost-efficient form of education? And there have been studies that show that these low-cost private schools are cheaper per student for the same quality of education as the government-run schools. And so if that's true, then let's use that delivery method, or some hybrid partnership of a public-private education model.